Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing quite a fun little vintage inspired makeup look. My 30th birthday is coming up really soon and I'm having a 1920s to 1930s themed birthday party. So this is the makeup look that I'm going to wear on the day, and I thought A, it would be good to trial it to see if I even like it, and B, it would be great to be able to show you guys the makeup that I'm going to wear, and there is not a chance in heck that I'm filming a video on that day because I'm going to be so busy. So this is it. This is my birthday look, and if you guys want to see how I did it and come along and join me, then just keep on watching. So this is vintage inspired 1920s to 1930s, but it's not going to be completely, oh, this is peppy. Okay, as I was saying, historically inspired, not historically 100% accurate, because this is my birthday and I want to look amazing. And for example, they had really matte skin back in the 1920s, and there's not a chance in hell I'm not wearing highlighter on my birthday. So, all right, that was my little disclaimer. And also my inspiration picture is not really 100% accurate, I don't think, but I don't really care because I think she looks amazing. And there you go. This is the picture I'm working off. This is just off Pinterest. I'm not entirely sure who that is or who did the makeup, so I'll try and find that to link it below, or if anyone just happens to know that, then definitely let me know. I'm going to start off with a primer, and I'm going to be using an oil control one because, like I just mentioned, they were into matte skin. This one's the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer. I've just got a little tester of it, and I put that all over my face. Oh wow, it's really tacky. Whoa, shite. I think I might have used a little bit too much. I'm definitely dealing with a little bit of dryness at the moment, so we're just gonna have to do the best we can. I'm just working this primer into my face because I put too much on. So definitely super pale skin back in the 1920s and 1930s. So I got myself a sample of a particularly light foundation because I don't necessarily want a whole bottle of super pale foundation just for one sort of, you know, thing. So this is the Stila Stay All Day foundation, and this is the shade Porcelain, which is the lightest shade, I believe. I'm just going to dot that over the face. So I guess what I'm saying is this is too pale for me, and that's exactly how we want it. And the reason that I chose a sample of this foundation is because I'm trying to decide if this is my new full coverage going out foundation. No one on the beauty community talks about this foundation at all, but I have tried like a sample in my actual shade and I really liked it. I should stop talking while I've got dots all over my face. So I'm going to blend this out with a beauty blender because we're going to use a cream or liquid blush. So I wanted to be able to use the beauty blender for that, and also because, like I mentioned, I do have a few dry spots going on. So the beauty blender is going to help me my application by sort of laying the dry spots down, and it's just going to make it blend better, you know. Sorry, that was not well explained. Basically, if you've got dry, flaky ass skin happening, a beauty blender is your friend. Alright, that's done a nice job of making me pale AF, as if I wasn't already, but it turns out that I can be paler. So I'm going to take the Tarte Shape Tape because that's the lightest concealer I own. I'm just going to build up the coverage a little bit with this as well. I like Shape Tape. It does have an amazing amount of coverage, and it also has an incredible staying power, but it is not great on my skin when it's dry. So if I have any dry patches around the eyes or anything like that, Tarte Shape Tape doesn't really do me any favors. So I like to prep quite a bit if I know that I'm going to use that. Really moisturize my skin up. You know, I'm going to use this concealer as a primer for my eyelids too, so I've just put a bit up there. I think it's a teeny bit concerning if this concealer is still having a brightening effect on such a light foundation, and you know, perhaps it's a shade too light for my normal life. The one historically accurate thing that I did really want to do was to use a liquid blush because that's what they used back then, but actually they used red. Red was the blush colour back then, and they were quite heavy-handed with their blush. I went into Myers, which is a department store in Australia, and I tried on the red of this liquid blush, but it just really didn't look any good on me. So, you know, what is the point of trying to do something historically accurate if it's going to make you look like shit. Am I right? So we're using a liquid blush, but it's not red. I don't know of that many liquid blushes, but I did know that YSL had one, and I actually really liked that formulation. I never bought it, but I thought it was really cool because it's a dual cheek and lip product, which is actually a really great idea and very nice, because if you have the same color on your lips and cheeks, it sort of makes it look really cohesive and brings it all together. I don't see a name there, I just see a number. So this is the shade 11, and this is the Baby Doll Kiss and Blush by Yves Saint Laurent, or Laurent. It comes in a little cool sort of nail polish-esque bottle like this, and because the color is so dark, I'm definitely going to use a very light hand for using it as a blush. However, like I said, they did go pretty ham with blush in the day. I'm going to start off by putting it on my hand, and then I'm going to dot it on. And something else that they did, which I don't tend to normally do, I don't really like to bring my blush right down onto the apples of my cheeks, because as you age a little bit, that can actually sort of bring your face down and make you look a little bit older rather than giving you the youthful flush of blush that you're actually after. But for the purposes of this, I am going to bring it down further than I normally would. But I actually think that this is a really nice blush color. It's pretty scary in the bottle, like you wouldn't think, oh yeah, I want to put that on my cheeks, but I really like it, especially when you put it on your lips as well. Now I'm going to use another product that I find quite drying and I wouldn't ordinarily use all over my face, and that is the RMCA No Color Powder. But as it's a white powder that I actually do find adds a little bit of lightness to your skin, I'm going to use it all over just to, you know, continue along the trend of a very pale face. I'm going to use that with the same damp beauty blender just to try and counteract the drying effect that I find it has. And here we take a slight detour away from accuracy, because they definitely wouldn't have contoured back in the day. I have read a bit that they contoured like with their blush. But as I said, it's my birthday, so I'm going to do what I want. So I am going to contour, and at this point in time, I absolutely wish I had like the Kevin Aucoin Sculpt powder or something that was real ashy, because what I want to do with the contour in this context is actually just create those shadows. So hopefully you can't tell that I've contoured, but it just makes my face look a little bit more chiseled, which is technically what contour is actually meant to do in the first place. So I'm using a Wayne Goss brush here, just to be able to have such a light hand and quite particular placement, because I don't want to blend this out like I normally would into a bronzer and just sort of warm up the entire face. Under the chin, being careful not to come onto the actual face. And for here, I'm not going to do the temples, which I normally would do, and I'm just going to do a teeny bit, the lightest on the nose. So we've enhanced the facial structure slash sculpt ever so slightly, but we haven't warmed the face at all. Now for eyebrows, they had really thin, sort of rounded eyebrows. I'm not doing that because they look ridiculous. I'm going to make my natural eyebrows as thin as possible and sort of soften the arch that I have there, but I'm certainly not going to get rid of it. In my inspiration picture, she had quite arched eyebrows anyway. But they were really dark and defined, so we are going to do that. So I'm using a dark eyebrow pencil. This one's in the shade Stud, and it's a MAC one. It's really nice and fine. So I'm going to be able to be nice and precise with it. I'm starting by tracing the underline of my brow, and I'm bringing the tail out a little bit, probably extending the tail out a teeny bit more than I normally would. And now I'm going to brush the hairs downwards so that I can see exactly where the brow ends naturally, and so we're not going to line any higher than that. Brush them back into place, sort of keeping them downwards. You can soften them out a little bit. This is the Naked Basics Urban Decay palette, which we're going to be using today. It's the cool toned one, Naked Basics 2. And I like these shades, all of these here, for doing your eyebrows. I'm just going to take a bit of primer. I'm just going to run that through the brow hairs. Now let's take a little bit of the concealer that we've been using on a fine concealer brush. I like to put it on my hand first so that I get a bit of control. We're going to carve out the brow. I never normally do this, but I really feel like a structured brow was a bit of a thing then. I don't like doing that, but you can see that it just helps you make them a bit thinner. Then you just want to set them into place with a little bit of brow gel. So to start off with the eyes, I'm going to set everything with a really light powder, as I always do. This one's Bitter Start from the Zoeva Cocoa Blend palette. Nothing new to see here if you've been with me for a while. Using a flat, fluffy brush to set everything real well. Taking this underneath as well, quite close to the lash line. So looking at my inspo picture, her eyeshadow is quite winged. I'm not going to do it quite that dramatic. I am going to do a winged eyeliner, but I'm not going to do the eyeshadow as intense as she's got hers. So I'm going to start off with this lovely cool toned light shade here called Frisk. And this is the Naked 2 Basics palette. Using my Eco Tools double-ended crease brush. I don't even know if it's actually called a double-ended crease brush, but it's the crease end of a double brush. And I'm going to build that nice and high, well and truly above my crease. I'm going to blend that out with a fluffy brush. We're just going to run that really lightly underneath the lower lash line, focusing more on the outside half. I'll be using these next two shades along, probably starting off with the lighter one, which is Primal, and then working into the darker one. So now we're just going to do the usual thing, which is to work a little bit lower than that previous shadow, now sort of defining the crease a bit. And I'm not coming all the way in, I'm coming 3/4 of the way. Adding that on the lid when you get to this sort of outside V area. And then quite carefully running that along the lower lash line, only about 1/4 of the way. You might want to switch to a thinner brush to do that because you don't want to bring it down low at all. So I'm going to switch to the other side of that Eco Tools brush. Blending out with a large fluffy brush, just using the same one that I used before, which is a Morphe 25, I think. Going into the Steeler Eyes of the Windows to the Soul palette and taking Kitten, this shade here, and I'm not going to pack it on. I'm actually just going to use it on the fluffy brush and do a very light dusting on the middle of the lid here, on that sort of blank space. Now, you almost won't be able to tell that there's a shimmer there, but it'll just add a little bit of brightness. Taking the darkest shade in the Urban Decay Naked Basics 2 palette on a pencil brush, ooh, that wasn't that lightly. Very lightly define this area here, just a teeny bit more. Can give that a really good blend out. I don't want it to be a noticeable line. Using a black will line the upper waterline. This is a Chanel Stilo U in 88 Noir. Just going to use that Kitten shade to highlight the inner corner as well. Some black is always bound to transfer to the lower waterline, which we do not want, so just clean that up with a Q-tip or something. And then take a white eyeliner and line the lower lash line. Sorry, the lower waterline. This is a MAC one. Really get that nice and opaque. I have hooded eyes, so winged eyeliner just doesn't really look that great on me, but we'll do it anyway. So I'm taking a Estee Lauder Double Wear Gel Eyeliner because I just find the gel eyeliners the easiest for me to use, and I'm using it on an angled brush. And she had hers coming underneath as well, which is actually quite good for hooded eyes because it sort of gives the eyeliner something to connect to. Now you can sharpen up the line with concealer and a fine tipped brush. You can certainly try. Now it would really be just depending on how you liked the look of things and what sort of style you wanted as to whether you would blend shadow back into this spot here or leave it bare to sort of define that wing even more. Up to you. So one of the little tips if you don't have a lot of lid space and you want to do a wing is to do what I've done here, where I actually haven't brought the liner on top of the lash line all the way to the inner corner. And what I'm doing is I'm letting the tight lining that we did earlier with the black sort of finish off that wing on the top there, if that makes sense. Because if I was to bring that all the way in, then my whole lid with my eyes open would look black, which is just, it's not that great. So let's put on some mascara. I'm going to use the YSL Shocking Faux Cils in black, of course, because I really just don't use any other colour other than black. Am I the only person who likes the smell of the YSL mascaras? They've got quite a strong perfume, but I don't know, I really like it. We're going to definitely get the lower lash line because I was told that they were sort of about the lower lash line in these days. And I haven't made it quite as smoky as I could have done. I'm not actually wearing a full Gatsby style getup. I'm wearing a long dress because I sort of like more Downton Abbey-ish, but not quite, obviously. My third tutorial in a row where I'm wearing false eyelashes. Who even am I anymore? Not happy about it, that's who I am. Interesting. These lashes maybe a teeny bit too big for this look. We live and learn. I'm now just going to go over any potential lash glue with the gel eyeliner. Now I'm going to do the lips, and I'm using an Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place pencil. This one's in the shade Wine, which is a nice deep plum. Getting a nice defined Cupid's bow, and my lips actually do this ordinarily anyway, and I even it out when I'm doing my lip liner, but so I just won't do it for this, to give more of that sort of Cupid lip shape. And using that beautiful blush, the YSL Kiss and Wash, which is, I think, just the most beautiful lip shade. When I put this on my lips, I was like, yep, that's the one. Not even joking. I feel like this could be my new favorite lip shade. It's just up ready. I'm just gonna clean up a teeny bit with concealer. You guys, if you're friends of mine, you know I like to do this. Maybe I should name this video How to Take 2 Hours to Do a Super Simple Look. It may have taken me 10 years, but it certainly needn't take you 10 years. That is pretty much it. If you wanted to be more authentic, you could leave it just here and voila. Yeah, as authentic as it can be without not being that authentic already. But of course, I'm now going to put on my highlighter, and I'm also going to fix plus my face. I'm using a very special highlighter, which I'm about to review. The Lion. I'll be subtle with it, even though it hurts me. Alright guys, that concludes this vintage inspired makeup tutorial / what I'm going to wear for my birthday. What is your favourite era? If you could go back in time to any sort of makeup time, which one would you choose? I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.